Welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the Daily Show. We give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today, Kristian Harloff.
May the 4th be with you. It is Collider Movie Talk. We are here. We are enjoying this glorious day. And of course, I wore my Star Wars shirt. I walked in with it. That's what I do. I walk in talking Star Wars. What's up, guys?
Also here, John Schnepp.
That's his story, and he's sticking to it. I'm sticking to this story. What's up? It's Wednesday, comic book day. Go to your comic book store and get some comics.
I like that.
Also here, Clarke Wolfe.
Lies, Kristian Harloff. Lies, I say.
Put your blazer back on. It looked good.
I know, I took my blazer off. We all changed our outfits this morning.
All right, what's up first? Oh, actually, you know what? There was a new trailer that dropped. This shark thing, and I'm gonna let
shark thing.
It's I don't know. I'm gonna let Clarke talk about it because her and Riley were going bananas over this thing. I didn't like the first trailer. Clarke, what is this thing? Why do we care?
Let's talk about the shark thing, aka The Shallows.
Thank you.
Which is what it's really called, starring Blake Lively. So The Shallows is a feature film. Basically, the premise is Blake Lively plays a surfer. She's stranded in a surfing accident, and there's a shark circling her. The script was actually on the Blacklist, which I'm sure you guys probably know, but if you don't, is a list that comes out every year of the best unproduced screenplays in Hollywood. And the first trailer came out. It was more of a teaser, maybe,
right.
Just sort of focusing on her being stranded on the, what would you call that? The buoy, I guess. And but this one, we're seeing a lot more about her actual family, about her life. We see a couple of kills happen, which is kind of crazy. I think that this trailer is definitely better than the first one, for sure. I think it gives Blake a real good opportunity, or could give her an opportunity as an actress to showcase what she's capable of. The only thing, and I hope this doesn't sound too goofy, it makes me, I like animals, I like environmental causes, and sharks are being hunted and killed like disproportionately and they're disappearing in the oceans, and so I'm kind of worried it's going to have the Jaws effect, where basically people think sharks are the enemy. So I don't know, but aside from that, I think the trailer looks good. You are obviously not a fan.
I just don't care. I think it looked, and plus the fact I saw the whole movie in this trailer. It's like okay, she's set up. She's going out with some other surfers. They get killed. She's got to survive. She shoots one with a flare gun, and that's the end of the movie. And then she stabs one in the side. I didn't think the CGI looked good. I think when the one shark popped out of the water, I was like, oh, that's a nice computer trick. It didn't look scary. It looked dopey. And I guess, look, Riley was like skipping around the office after he watched it, and I know Ellis is probably losing his mind over it. I just think it looked dopey. Schnepp?
Yeah, you know what? I don't think it looked dopey. I just think they showed a little too much in this trailer. That's how I feel. I liked the first trailer. It set a good tone. She's stuck on this rock. She got bit by a shark. The shark circling her. You're like, look, this is like a low budget, tense suspense film. I was like, all right, cool. I can't wait to see more. And then I think this trailer showed just a little bit too much. They showed, it's only a 90-minute movie. It's not a 10-episode series of her stuck on this rock. So I think they just showed a little bit too much. So like, there's that buoy. That's like 10 minutes trying to figure out how to get to the buoy. A couple attempts to get to the buoy. Another 10 minutes, you're on the buoy. There's like, and then they show her shooting that. Is that a flare gun? What usually is on a buoy? It's like she's shooting it at something. It's not another person. It's a shark. So you like put two and two together. Hopefully we're wrong, and that's like she misses, and like there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. But I think Blake Lively's a great actress, so this is a great piece for her to stand out, and it's a performance piece for her. So I'm looking forward to seeing the film from this trailer, but I'm hoping they didn't show too much.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's every time you say buoy, like you remember One Crazy Summer? With Demi Moore and that's the buoy, Bob Cackles. Man, I always think about that one, but I'll tell you, it's just the fact that this movie, I like that it is a smaller piece. I think that it's nice that a smaller movie is coming out in the summertime, and it's not like this big blockbuster movie, and that's kind of one of the reasons I have hope for it. I just think that the shark premise has been done to death.
Well, I was also going to add, I will say, I don't know how you guys felt about Open Water, which was another independent. Riley's giving the thumbs up. Riley, you like shark movies. Okay.
No,
I can't say that I blame you. But I remember the buzz for Open Water was really positive. Another independent film that came out in the summer several years ago. And when I ultimately saw the movie, I was a little disappointed. A similar premise, a couple is stranded out in the middle of the ocean and sharks start to circle. And based on a true story in that case. But yeah, for me, that one wasn't the best. So yeah, I don't know. I have hopes for it though. Also, to your points about what we see in the trailer, I don't feel like this script would be on the blacklist if it was as simple as beat by beat by beat.
Right.
She gets stranded, she fights the shark, she swims real fast, she lands on the buoy, she shoots the shark, it blows
Maybe
up
there's a little
like
more
Jaws.
to her character.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Okay.
And also, I don't know if you guys saw 127 Hours with
Yes.
James Franco.
Yeah.
So when I heard that concept for the first time and saw that trailer, I was kind of like, really? That's it?
But that had Boyle though behind it, Danny Boyle.
Well, yeah.
You know? And so I think that was one of the lures of getting people in the theater.
Well, I think you could probably, yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. But I think you could probably, from what we see in this trailer, especially with her and her family, her on the beach, her waxing up the board, I think we're going to see something stylistically that might be closer to 127 hours than something like Open Water.
All
That'd
right,
be my guess.
we'll see. What did you guys think about the trailer? Are you excited for it? Are you looking forward to this shark movie, or do you not care? Going into the main topics, before we do that, big announcement tomorrow. The return of John Campea to Movie Talk. He's coming back. He's going to be on a special episode. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but it'll be myself. It'll be John Schnepp, John Campea, and Dennis Zhang will all be here tomorrow for a very special episode of Movie Talk, as well as I got to sit down with, well, I sat down and she was on her place too. We did a Skype interview. It was Claudia Gray, who just released the new Star Wars novel Bloodline that came out. That's going on the channel as well tomorrow. So a couple things to look forward to as we get into our movie news.
Wait a sec, Kristian Harloff.
sir.
Isn't this Bloodline thing? That's the same book that has your planet system in it, right?
Planet.
Harloff Minor, and then
yeah.
there's a Harloff Major.
Well, I don't
right?
want to spoil. Maybe that was revealed, but we'll find out in the interview tomorrow. But Ashley Mova, there's some movie topics running around out in the world. What do we got?
With Civil War arriving finally in U.S. theaters this week, the hype is real, and critics and audiences everywhere are gushing about the superhero epic, with one noticeable standout mention in every review: Spider-Man. Collider's own Haleigh Foutch sat down with Marvel head honcho Kevin Feige to talk all things Civil War and Spider-Man. Feige already confirmed that Marvel would be in charge of the creative side of things with Spidey and Sony handling distribution. But one thing fans were wondering was whether or not the standalone Spider-Man would take place before or after Civil War. Speaking about it, Feige clarified that the standalone would in fact take place after the events in Civil War and would not rehash an origin story again, but instead operate on the assumption that movie-going audiences know enough to still enjoy his story. SpiderMan Homecoming will be released July 7, 2017. Kristian, thoughts on Feige's comments about Spider-Man taking place after Civil War and not being another origin?
I don't think it's a surprise to anyone, but I love it. I love the fact that they're confident enough to where they know that they've done the origin stuff. Let's get past it. We don't need it. It's Civil War. You've seen the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. Spidey shows up. I think they introduce him well. He's obviously Spider-Man already. We don't need to jump back into the past and then jump again into the future. We're set up. We know how Spider-Man became Spider-Man. After you see Civil War, I think we're all confident here that you will accept Tom Holland as your new Spider-Man. So let him just do his thing in the new movie. So, and I think that that's kind of what they always had envisioned when they were going to do the standalone. Marvel is really pushing forward, as we saw in those comments. The political nice version was Feige basically saying, yeah, we're controlling this thing. Don't worry about it. We have a vision. This is the vision that they have. I loved the comments. Schnepp, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think from what we first heard when he talked about what Marvel's take on Spider-Man is going to be like a John Hughes film,
Right.
Like it's going to be very Ferris Bueller Day Off. So to me, hearing that and like knowing that that's the direction they're going in is a pleasant surprise, especially now that we've seen the hard R version of that with Deadpool. Now we're going to get the John Hughes version of it with Spider-Man. You know, like him probably breaking the fourth wall, talking to the, maybe a lot of voiceover as opposed to talking to the camera. So I think that's going to be a really cool thing. I think they will show his origin, but it'll be in him talking about it. Like, I got bit by this radioactive spider.
Right, it's something
You'll
pretty
see
like they did with Hulk.
Totally.
Yeah.
Quick little super nuggets, Like, we don't need to have, like, a whole movie based on his origin. So I'm just interested to see who's going to be the villain. I keep hearing like Vulture or Green Goblin, or so I'm excited about the direction that they're going with Spider-Man. And wait till you see Civil War, because you're all going to be like clamoring to see Spider-Man. It comes out next year, right?
2017.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Clarke, what do you think?
Yeah, so for you guys who have been watching the saga of me not getting to see Civil War, I finally saw Civil War. Yay! But with that being said, you guys probably also remember that I am so bored with Spider-Man, or had been so fatigued with Spider-Man. Just like I don't care who it is, blah, blah, blah. I saw Civil War, and I am a changed woman. I am 100% a changed woman. Tom Holland was excellent, and his chemistry with Downey is great. And I loved the previous reports that we've heard that Downey, is going to show up and Iron Man's going to be involved in this. I think that's great. And in terms of not doing the origin story, thank God. I mean, seriously, like, we've seen it too much. Everybody knows. It's kind of on par with Batman's parents getting shot in front of that theater.
Right.
We know. The Pearls. We know. Uncle Ben. We know.
Right.
So with that being said, I am so thrilled that they're just going to move forward as they should. Everyone is going to see Civil War. Everybody who hasn't seen it yet will see it. The reviews have been so good. So the audience doesn't need any more hand-holding. We're all set. And as far as the tone, I think that what we saw, this little piece of what we saw in Civil War, it was a great indication that not only can Tom Holland pull off the action, but he can pull off the comedy too.
And I love that you bring that up too, and going off what you said with the Ferris Bueller. Marvel hasn't done. They've done the spy movies. They've done the space operas. We haven't seen a coming of age story yet.
Right.
This is going to be their coming of age / comedy, because Spider-Man can call for comedy, as we will see. And every version of Spider-Man, he's had those kind of witty one-liners, and you're going to see that throughout this, I believe, too, with keeping inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I think this is a great call. I love the way that Feige has set this up. Okay, what's next?
According to The Wrap, Universal Pictures will release the third film in their Monsters Shared Universe on February 15, 2019. The project, which remains untitled, will follow the June 2017 release of Tom Cruise's The Mummy and another mystery monster movie due in April 2018, rumored to be Johnny Depp's The Invisible Man. The Wrap speculates that the 2019 release could be either Bride of Frankenstein, that once had Angelina Jolie circling, or a Wolfman movie. The creative team of Alex Kurtzman and Chris Morgan are overseeing Universal's Monsters universe, which kicks off next June in 2017. Schnepp, thoughts on what the new movie could be in Universal's shared universe of monsters?
Look at all those super cool monsters. Like, good job, Ray. You chucked all those amazing images. I'm just thinking about Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Wolfman, The Mummy. If y'all haven't seen those old films, the Universal original monster films, check them all out. They're a lot of fun. What do I think about this new untitled Universal 2019 film? Who knows? We've seen so many remakes recently. They had Dracula, Twice Baked, or whatever it was called. I can't remember the Dracula, the newer Dracula. Yeah,
Dracula
Retold,
Untold.
whatever. It was horrible. But I think, I'm looking forward to seeing Tom Cruise fight the Mummy. I guess Johnny Depp is going to be invisible for most of the movie, and then hopefully they're doing this right. I reserve my judgment until I see the first one. I mean, I know they're going to make it a lot of action and less horror. So it's going to be an action franchise revolving around the Universal monsters. So they're going to have a lot of action, horror, emphasis on the action. So I don't know if they're going to make a team of monsters at the end where they all team up and fight a bigger monster. Who knows? Maybe that'll be in 2025.
I don't know what to think yet, because we're really not. This hasn't been established yet. Like you guys were mentioning with Dracula Untold, that was going to be the first one that really started it, and that thing failed miserably. So
here it did.
Well,
overseas it was very popular.
But just with opinions on them, like as far as fan response, is anybody really caring about the cinematic universe because of that movie?
No.
So I'm not going to say that I'm disappointed in it or excited about it, because I don't know yet. I haven't seen anything that has got me so thrilled. I like the possibilities of the shared monster universe. I want to see what they do, as long as they don't Van Helsing and Mummy to it. Like I don't need the.
Don't forget about the Wolfman.
The Wolfman.
You're my dad.
Yeah, that's the Benicio del Toro one.
Yeah.
Right? See that was
Anthony Hopkins as the older werewolf.
Right, and I was so excited for that one too.
Spoiler alert.
Who cares? Who cares?
Right. Yeah. Anthony Hopkins doesn't even know what happened in that movie. So yeah, I don't know. I want to hear more about it before I get excited or start selling it all over the place. Yeah. Do you care about this?
I do care
right.
about this. I'm excited about this. Now, am I excited about yet untitled 2019 movie that, no, I mean, who can be excited about a thing that we don't even know what it is or who's in it or what's going on? However, I have gone so back and forth on this Universal Monsters thing, especially after Donna Langley said, oh, well, there's not going to be any horrors. This is more like, our superheroes. And I was like, what?
Yeah, right.
But after that, obviously, Morgan and Kurtzman backpedaled, did some course correction and said, no, don't listen to her. But regardless, I think the fact that Tom Cruise signed on, I've said this before on Movie Talk, I really like what Tom Cruise is up to over the last 5 years, 8 years. I think he's got a really good eye for cool new material. He certainly doesn't need another franchise. So the fact that he chose to come on board this undertaking, I think, is a really good sign. And in addition to the Angelina Jolie proposed Bride of Frankenstein, which, by the way, if you guys have seen The Bride of Frankenstein, she's only in it for like 5 minutes. So if you're going to have Angelina Jolie involved, she's either going to be directing and playing that character in the last 5 minutes or so, or they're revamping this story in a big way.
I think they'll revamp it.
I think they will too.
Yeah.
But with that being said, there were also reports that Scarlett Johansson was being approached to play the scientist in Creature from the Black Lagoon, which if you guys haven't gone back, like you were saying, Schnepp, I rewatched them fairly recently, and Creature really holds up, and so does Invisible Man. And I have to say, somehow I missed this Johnny Depp news until a couple of days ago. I like this. Yeah. I like Johnny Depp in that role specifically.
Well, but it depends if he's going to be playing like a Claude Rains character, because sometimes Johnny Depp overacts.
Yes,
and it's
he
like
does.
I don't want him to overact and like being like, I'm a 1940s guy in this new Invisible Man. I'm just like, I want it to be good. It's like, what was that, Transcendence? Like if he's like doing that stuff, like
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, we'll see him playing the Invisible Man. It is about the tone of it. I think how it's going to be set, but that also goes back into the entire franchise here with, is every movie, you're going to have one where it's completely over the top, or you're going to have one where they're trying to go serious and dark? What's the overall tone of this franchise going to be?
Yeah, and I think if I had to guess, and if I had to hope, they're going to be looking at the Marvel template. So basically, like we were saying earlier, you've got the serious, espionage drama, but then you've got a fun, quirky space opera, but then you've got this. And I think when I think about something like Invisible Man, for instance, if they're going to do a team up, or if they're going to have some guys are bad and some guys are fighting for good, or whatever it is, I could totally see Johnny Depp playing the madness of that character and doing it really well. Like him playing a villain ultimately, not a quirky weirdo outsider guy. No, like the Invisible Man ultimately loses his mind. Yeah. And I can see that being the thing. The other thing I want to mention is that Aaron Guzikowski, who wrote the Hugh Jackman movie Prisoners, who was also the showrunner of this AMC drama called The Red Road that Jason Momoa was on. It's actually a really great drama which just ended, I think, after its 3rd season. I spoke with him on set of The Red Road, kind of not off the record, but it
was AMC or IFC?
I'm sorry, it was Sundance. It was Sundance, okay. Yeah. But anyway, Guzikowski has been on this project for a while. He's a really intelligent, compelling screenwriter and storyteller, and he takes it very seriously. From my conversation with him 2 years ago about this, he was taking it very seriously. Good. And he's also now attached to the Friday the 13th reboot, which I think says he loves his horror. Sure. So I think they have real potential here. All the players are potentially in place, and I think that this shared universe has a real shot at being something special.
I'll say this about a shared universe for all these monster films. I hope they just concentrate on making each individual monster movie standalone and great on their own. Like Frankenstein was never tied up with Dracula or the Wolfman or any of this other stuff until like years later. Well, yeah, but I'm talking about the original ones. Yeah. Years later, they tied them all together. Yeah. And of course, now they're the Universal Monsters. They're all on T-shirts together and all this other dumb stuff. To me, I like the original core ideas of them. Frankenstein redone now can be horrifying and terrifying. It's like, I just hope they do the right thing with all these properties and not just to try to eventually team them all up. That's just stupid to me. So,
all right, what's next?
Broadgrain Pictures announced yesterday that it has landed the rights to John Leake's true crime novel, Entering Hades, and attached Michael Fassbender to produce and star as Jack Unterweger, the Australian serial killer who is also a celebrated journalist and best-selling author who spent his days investigating murders and his nights committing them. Unterweger was released from prison in 1990 and used as an example of rehabilitation, working as a journalist reporting on various crimes in Los Angeles. Little did the public know that as soon as he was released, he began killing again. Alexander Danilaris, who won an Oscar for co-writing Birdman and also co-wrote The Revenant, is rewriting the script. No release date has been set. Clarke, thoughts on Michael Fassbender playing a serial killer and Entering Hades?
Yeah, I love this. I think this is really cool. I think this has the potential to be really messed up and awesome and dark. I think that, if you know anything about, not that I know much about serial killers, but if you know anything, it's that the kind of general consensus is they never stop killing. If a serial killer's work ends, it's because they've died. That's why
Or
they
got caught, yeah.
Got caught. Yes, exactly. So I would love to see Fassbender play the duality. And also, when you think about Fassbender as an actor, he's so charming, he's so handsome, and I think it's kind of like a Ted Bundy thing in a way, like this idea that how could somebody get away with this? Well, if you're an attractive man who has a cool job and you're charming and cool, then I could totally see how you could get away with it. It's like American Psycho meets, Silence of the Lambs almost in my head, but I think it sounds great and I'm excited.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. I think this is going to be Fassbender's American Psycho, to where we know that he can go to the dark place. If you've seen Shame, he absolutely can tap into that. He's one of the best actors out there for sure. This is one to get him away also from he's just going to have Magneto in Apocalypse here. He's in the spotlight on the big budget action movies.
Assassin's Creed.
So now you pull back, you do a movie like this. This is what the really great actors do. They do movies where they do the big ones that they can still obviously use their acting ability, and then they play to the masses. And then they do movies like this where they test themselves and they go into those places that really great actors can do and do it convincingly. I think he's one of the greats right now. He's one of the best ones out there right now. To see him doing something like this, it's going to be creepy. It makes sense that he would do something like this.
Yeah, this is one of those films that you could see, depending on how far they go in the horror realm of it, but if they stay more in the psychological thriller, there could be an Oscar nomination for him if he does that duality of the role, and like they really get into the behind the scenes of this actual guy who's like doing this during the day, doing this other completely horrifying thing at night. So I think it's a great casting. Fassbender is one of our premier actors of this generation. So
all right, before we get into buy or sell, another bit of news that had dropped earlier today. Not a huge story, but the Russo brothers were interviewed, and they said that apparently the Infinity Wars are not going to be called the Infinity Wars. There's right now they're keeping that, but trying to find a better title or another title. Dennis and I were talking about it beforehand too. I happen to think what this means is that it'll be like Infinity War blank something, whatever the
Phil food stamps,
the invasion of Thanos, or whatever it might be. It's something where you will be labeled as Infinity War, but with some big subtitle too. Not a big, huge story, but still. Are you shocked that they're changing the name at all?
I'm shocked. I tell you,
shocked. Unbelievable.
Infinity War's Homecoming.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. No one cares.
No.
Clarke?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be Infinity War : something part 1 or whatever.
Okay. There we go. Now it's time for buy or sell. Ashley Mova is going to read some more things happening in the world of the movie news, and myself, Clarke, and Schnepp are either going to buy or sell it. What's first?
It's been almost 20 years since Roland Emmerich's alien apocalypse movie Independence Day hit theaters, and soon the director will be putting the Earth through even more destruction with Independence Day Resurrection. A lot in the ID4 world has changed since the last invasion, and to show just how much, 20th Century Fox has released a viral video that brings us up to speed with planet's technological and humanitarian advancement since the devastating War of 1996. Independence Day Resurgence will hit theaters this June 24th. Kristian Harloff, the War of 1996 video promotion for Independence Day Resurrection.
I buy this stupid thing. I enjoyed it. Because the thing is, this movie, I have said, I was not a huge fan of Independence Day. I think it's a great guilty movie pleasure. I understand why people love it. It's just not a movie. There's so much wrong with it. But There's a lot wrong with it. The end? I mean, come on. A computer virus with AOL?
Continue.
I'm just saying.
I'm not going to...
But I understand, and I get it. And the reason why I get it is because of the reason why I want to see. I don't think this movie is going to be good at all, but I'm there opening night because I want to shove popcorn in my face and just watch this thing. And this particular... I love when movies do this. I love when X-Men does it. I love when movies sell you on the fact that this is a real universe. This has really happened. And to let you guys know everything that's happened in the last 20 years, we're setting it up. And yeah, we might have some really great looking footage from the movie pretending that it's news footage, but who cares? Let's just watch this and get into the story. And Jeff Goldblum makes this video. He makes the buy for me. I buy everything that he's saying as this character. I love the fact that they're returning. And they're giving us a little bit of the history. The Will Smith's kid is in there too. And I guess he crashed and they killed him off because they couldn't get the contract right. So this particular video, it did it for me. It did the trick. Buy or sell for you?
Yeah, I buy it. I definitely buy it. You guys know I'm all about some Independence Day, son. To paraphrase Mr. John Schnepp. I buy this video too because one of the things that we really establish here is that they put a base on the moon, y'all.
That's right.
They confirm that we are going to the moon. Now, obviously, we saw this in the trailer, but the fact that they actually make a point to say, yeah, so we put this base on the moon and we go there, and it just for some reason. I was like, yeah, that makes total sense and also does not seem over the top or extravagant or ridiculous. So I buy it. But the other thing I would mention, two things. They mentioned that President Whitmore, I don't know, I'm getting a vibe that President Whitmore did not handle the alien invasion well.
Yeah.
He's got his big crazy beard. They call him ex-President Whitmore, not former President Whitmore.
Ray brings him a lightsaber at the end of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, how amazing would that be? So anyway, I think that is going to come into play. And I also think, as we said last time I was on Movie Talk, I was here with, and Mark Ellis, I think, said this, they're really setting up that these kids are going to take over the franchise, which, I hope that Jeff Goldblum's around until the end of time.
Yeah.
But I think we could probably, if we had to place our bet, say goodbye to President Whitmore, say goodbye to some of the other characters. So they've got a lot riding on these three young leads, but I do think it's cool that they're putting them out front and center like they did in this video.
Yep.
20 years ago, we did not get attacked by aliens. But in this fictional movie, we got attacked by aliens. And now in the future, in this movie, it's better than our planet is now. There's world peace. We're like all united. We're like, we're against the enemies, but everybody's getting along. There's a base on the moon. Come on. We haven't even we don't have anything on the moon right now. We suck. This reality we live in blows. I can't believe I want to be in Roland Emmerich's stupid movie. I want to live in there right now. I buy it hatefully. I buy it resentfully with tons of hatred. Because I really enjoyed this little whatever the stupid commercial was. I love Jeff Goldblum. I'm like, I want to go to that weird moon base. I think it's fun. I know there's going to just be a lot of stuff exploding. It is going to be a big, dumb, stupid film. I was calling it Resurgence for a long time. I'll call it Resurgence after seeing this. I buy it.
Yeah, it just seems like a movie that you go to the theater for. It's like, and you go and it's just, I don't know, we're just gonna go see it.
It's a moon base.
Yeah, we're just going to see the moon base.
And if I may, part of the reason why I love this movie so much is because I love action movies that aren't afraid to have a good time.
Yeah.
Independence Day, yes, Roland Emmerich is not, foolproof, but he always has a sense of fun to his movies, especially, and I think you've seen it and done no better than when he did it in Independence Day. I think the reason I love it is because I want to laugh. I want to be emotionally invested. I want the big speech from the president who says,
we're going to get a speech.
Yes,
we're going to get a speech.
Of course
for sure,
we are.
Definitely.
But so I think that's why we're excited. It's not that we haven't seen aliens invading the world in a movie before. It's because we want to go and have a good time.
They like to take out the monuments. All right, what's next?
The long in development Monsterpocalypse movie is finally gaining some traction in a big way. THR reports that a bidding war was underway between Warner Brothers, DreamWorks, and Sony to acquire the Monsterpocalypse package, which now has Evil Dead remake director Fede Alvarez set to direct and co-write with his writing partner Rodo Siagas. The movie follows a similar premise as Pacific Rim, in which humans in robot suits fight monsters, and was once developed by Tim Burton and his Big Fish screenwriter John August. When the original Pacific Rim got off the ground, the project stalled and Burton and August left the package. Now Warner Brothers has won the rights to produce, hoping to get Monsterpocalypse off the ground. A release date has yet to be determined. Schnepp, buy or sell a Monsterpocalypse movie with director Fede Alvarez.
Fede Alvarez directed. How he got the job for Evil Dead is he did this really cool short film. I think it was called Panic Attack, where it was basically like all these giant robots blowing up a city. It was really well done. It was like his first film out of the gate, and it got him a lot of attention. So I'm glad he's attached to this as a director of a thing called Metalocalypse. I'm glad to see all these like something apocalypse films coming out. I can't wait to see another giant robot fighting another giant monster film. I know we're getting Pacific Rim 2 in the next year or so. So I hope they come out head to head, because it's always great when you have like, oh, there's a volcano movie. There's another volcano movie coming out literally 2 weeks around the same. You know, you had the Deep Impact, Armageddon. You always have like a movie and another movie fighting for dominance. So I can't wait to see Monsterpocalypse. I'm excited about it.
I'm buying it because of the director. Because I actually, because of that short, but also I didn't mind the remake for Evil Dead. Thank you.
They just called it something different.
They just called it something, but I was gonna say Walking Dead. Evil Dead. I didn't mind it. I thought obviously it doesn't touch the Sam Raimi versions, but I just thought from what he did and taking a more of that straight up horror version, I liked his choices as a director, and I liked it. I say that there's a lot of cells in the chat room, and I get it because you hear it. Maybe you're not familiar with this guy who didn't like the Evil Dead remake, but I think this dude is a pretty talented director.
Yes.
And to see exactly what you said, I want to see more monsters. You always give me more monsters. Fighting robots. I'm good to go anytime you tell me that, because the same thing that we just talked about with Independence Day, although I think significantly better filmmaking with Pacific Rim, is that Pacific Rim, you just went there for the robots fighting the monsters. If you went in there for a story, a hardcore story in that particular film, then I think you're going to be let down.
Right.
I think that this Monsterpocalypse lends itself to that same type of expectations with some really quality directing.
Yeah, I think Fede has a really great career ahead of him. So I've been hearing great things about his new movie. I think it's called Don't Breathe, and I think it's supposed to come out in August. It screened over at South by Southwest. Kind of a intense reaction to it. I hear it's very similar in tone to the Evil Dead movie that he made, and it's quite intense. And that was my one thing with the Evil Dead movie. I liked it. I think I would argue it is undeniably a good movie. However, it is very, very serious. Like I did not find a lot of room to have fun in the Evil Dead movie, and not because I was comparing it to Sam Raimi, but because it's an intense movie that does not let up. And so that would be my only reservation with Fede taking on something like this, is that I do want there to be a little room to have a good time. I do want there to be a little room to maybe get a little goofy. And so far, from what I have seen in his feature film work, haven't seen too much of that. But I will buy it because I think Fede is a real talent.
I'll swallow your soul. Swallow your soul. All right, now it is time for Rewind, brought to you by our friends over at AMC Theaters. We go back and rewind to the movies that came out 10 years ago and 20 years ago. Very interesting selection this week. Ashley, what do we got?
Well, 10 years ago, there was Mission Impossible 3, Art School Confidential, An American Haunting, and 20 years ago, Barbed Wire, The Craft, and Open Season.
Okay, so I was talking to Riley about this yesterday when we were going through. If you go back 10 years ago, you can see that it was, all right, Mission Impossible 3 is coming out. Let's get out of the way.
Right.
Because it's the smaller movies that are coming in after you put a horror movie, which is counter programming, and it works. But it was the summer season. You knew it was the summer season, beginning of May. Good place to put J.J. Abrams' Mission Impossible 3. You go back 20 years ago, and it doesn't look like the summer movie season as we know it today was in effect. Because you look at those, what are those movies that were up 20 years ago?
Barbed Wire, The Craft.
Barbed Wire, The Craft, and Open Season, which if those movies came out today, not summer movies.
I don't even know what Open Season is.
I don't know what that is either.
I have no
The dudes,
idea.
all I see is a poster of the dude standing on some TVs. I'm like, what is going on?
No one knows what it is. So I just thought it was very interesting how much the landscape has shifted from 20 years ago to 10 years ago to now.
Sure.
But yeah, I think to me, Mission Impossible 3 stands out because of those reasons, and because I think it's an underrated Mission Impossible movie. I thought JJ did a pretty good job with it. Schnepp, what stands out to you?
Well, yeah, the standout's Mission Impossible 3. It's a really fun film. It's 1,000 times times better than Mission Impossible 2, which is pretty forgettable and horrible, to be honest with you. But then, of course, it just the ratcheting up of like Mission Impossible 4 and 5. Right. So really, if you want to see incredible Mission Impossible, start with 3, then go to 4, and then go to 5. It just keeps getting better. Art School Confidential holds a special place in my heart. Not the movie, which I thought sucked, but the actual original Dan Clowes comic strip, which is literally 4 pages. And I went to an art school, so literally it's making fun of every single person in art school. So you're like, I know a person like that. I know a person like that. Oh my God, that's me. So it gets, if you're an artist, it gets you and it nails you. And that's what Daniel Clowes is so good at. He's like, gets right in there and he talks the truth. So unfortunately, the movie itself, not really that good. It's not a well executed film. Barbed Wire, I think if you go online right now, check out The Unwatchables, because it's Barbed Wire, The Shadow, Swamp Thing, The Phantom, and some other one other character. Oh, right, Underdog. They're all together. It's like the Expendables, but it's called The Unwatchables, and it's a trailer that a friend of ours cut. It's incredible. Watch it. It's fantastic. That's what Barbed Wire is to me.
Yeah, Barbed Wire, I think is we talked about this. I think it was on Mailbag. As far as B movies, it was like kind of a glorified B movie that Pamela Anderson, who was the big thing back then, and to put her in her own movie, it got a lot of her fanboys out to see her. So that's why that movie.
Yeah, make sure she's in like almost next to nothing, and that she's shooting.
That's
dudes.
what the movie was marketed on, and it delivers on that aspect.
Does.
But I will also say, going back to Mission Impossible 3, a point that you made. See, I really liked Brian De Palma's Mission Impossible,
the first one.
And then John Woo's version almost just destroyed any inkling of anything that I wanted to see with
Stinky.
It just was really, really bad. And then going into the third movie, and because J.J. Abrams, I don't think had he even done, what was his feature film? Was that his first feature?
I think it might have been his feature film debut.
So when he did that, I knew him as a TV guy. Mm-hmm. Not only did it have the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman, but it really kind of set up the version and the storylines that we're still following today in Mission Impossible. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why it doesn't get enough credit for what it actually did for the franchise.
Yeah. The one that stands out to me, because I'm a girl of a certain age, is The Craft. And I know Ashley feels the same way. But when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to see rated R movies. So I didn't get to go see The Craft, but I knew everybody was talking about it. And actually now, speaking of how the industry has changed, they're rebooting this, The Craft, I think I just read that it's actually going to be a sequel. The one that they're working on right now. Who knows?
I hope they get Fairuza Balk back.
Right?
Thanks for mentioning The Craft. I almost spaced that out. I loved The Craft. Yeah, it's a great.
And it's such a time capsule movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's the perfect encapsulation of that period of the '90s and high school and that cast. Mm-hmm. I mean, Neve Campbell and Fairuza and anyway. So, but yeah, that was the one that stood out to me. Yeah. But I would be excited for another Craft movie. I think it would be cool. And I think too, you can take the high school teenage angst that we have now with technology and put it up against magic. That could be pretty cool.
Two fighting teachers, Neve Campbell and Fairuza Balk, have their own craft students. One goth. So I'd see that.
Okay, so now it is time for Mailbag. But before we get into Mailbag, also would like to let you guys know that we will be doing live Twitter questions today. Ashley Mova will be fielding those questions, so make sure that you tweet at Ashley Mova and Collider Video and let them all know.
Just be nice to me.
Just be nicer. Be nicer. But if you anything you want to know, if it's a matter of movies, if it's a matter of the behind the scenes, go ahead, ask them. We will try to answer them. But first, it is Mailbag time. ColliderVideo@gmail.com. You guys have been submitting them. We've been asking them. What do we got?
George Sauter writes, "Hey Collider crew, a while back you guys discussed the Labyrinth sequel. Some names were thrown around like Mick Jagger and Steven Tyler to play another Goblin-esque figure. But let's be honest, I don't think that they'd be able to carry a movie today, especially if the studios want to reach younger audiences. If they decide to go the musical route like the original, who would you think could take the impossible task of taking up Bowie's mantle while still being bankable? Could the Goblin King's successor be a woman? And if the studios do go with Jagger or Tyler, what other big name actor could help sell the movie? Keep up the good work."
Love the question. I'm going to actually go away from the musician for a second, and I actually think that Tilda Swinton would be a great.
I was gonna say Tilda.
Were you really?
Yeah.
I
Just
think-
because we're on that same tip right now. She's androgynous. She's playing the ancient one. It's perfect.
I think she would be great as Jared. I think that she could absolutely pull that particular role off. I know that if I'm trying to think other. I don't know as far as musicians go who I think could play. You know who I was thinking about, and I don't know if he necessarily could pull off Jared, but was really good in one movie I saw him in, and he hasn't acted since, was Adam Levine. Adam Levine was in that the movie with Ashley.
That's Ashley giving up.
Yeah. But he was in what's the one with Keira Knightley? It was
Begin Again?
Begin Again. Thank you.
And he was in
He's
American
also
Horror
on
Story
American
too.
Horror Story,
Well, how
yeah.
was he in that?
And he's actually not bad, and I was shocked.
Did you not think he was good? Oh, okay.
I don't think he
He's
was
gonna be a
bad.
pop star,
Is he gonna be a pop
and
star?
he's funny.
All right,
on Saturday Night Live.
It was harder to judge because in the Begin Again he was playing a musician, so it was a little easier for him to play. Not that he could play Jared, but I was just thinking about musicians that maybe don't act enough.
Well, when I hear Mick Jagger, I'm just like, come on.
He's 900
Yeah,
years
well, no, I
old.
mean, he was good when he was like in the 60s in a cool movie called Perform. It's all these, it's like.
Yeah.
It's like people are just like, oh, what about it's like, I don't know, Bob Dylan? No, it's
Bob
like what the
Dylan.
hell?
Yeah,
No, I'm just saying
I know.
like these weirdo suggestions. It's like, I think Tilda Swinton sounds cool. I mean, just get someone who is like slightly futuristic, and androgynous, and weirdly robotic. Yet I mean, that's really hard. That's a hard one to fill.
It's
What do
so
you
funny
think?
because like when Mark sent out our show notes this morning, I replied to him and said, "No one can ever play Jareth the Goblin
Right.
King. What kind of question is this?
No one.
No, it's over.
Wow.
No. Labyrinth is my favorite movie.
Okay.
Of
all time?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great choice.
It is. I'm very protective of it.
I got it.
But here's the thing, and I think Nicole Perlman, the screenwriter who was loosely attached to this remake or sequel or whatever, kind of really tried to get out in front of the rumor and clarify that she was never working on a reboot. She was never working on a direct sequel. If anything, it would have been something in the Labyrinth universe, and
right.
that I would be totally okay with.
The fans have a great suggestion. Who is technically a musician as well too? Is Jared Leto.
No. What?
I think he'd be all right. And I got one for you. Ludo, friend. Sarah.
No, I don't think that anybody could ever play Jareth. If you want to do someone's like Jareth's cool cousin
Right.
or something like that, if there's like a court of Goblin Kings.
Jamblo,
Yeah.
Jareth's
Yeah.
cool cousin, Jamblo.
The only person that I was thinking, and maybe it's because I also have a crush on him, is Tom Hiddleston. Hiddleston to me
good
resembles Bowie.
I was gonna say
He-
Benedict Cumberbatch, but
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston's probably better.
Well, and he's also got that. Hiddleston has a quality that's a little like it's kind of, it can be a little weird, but it can be soft, but it can be sexy, and it's like it's kind of this same thing that Jareth is, to be honest, for all the
Sure.
little girls who are watching, who maybe grew up watching Labyrinth and like, ooh,
Hiddleston would do that for them, right?
for them, and by them I mean me.
Someone else is saying this. I can't wait to see Clark's face on this one. You know who they wind up casting? I think that's probably true. They'd probably cast Lady Gaga.
Oh yeah, get that face.
You know that they would. They would. Even when she did the Ziggy Stardust thing. But anyway, all right. Let's get into the next
I
one.
feel like my temperature just really.
People just said that because of American Horror Story. It probably
Yeah.
triggered that.
Well,
And
also
also
because she
she's
did that debut.
a David Bowie impersonation.
yeah.
at the Grammys.
Well,
That does not. That does not a Goblin King make.
All right. What's next?
Joshua Ditton writes, "Hey Collider crew, big fan. My question is, what is your favorite heroic movie death of all time? Mine has to be the death of William Wallace in Braveheart. Freedom."
I am going to go with Boromir from Fellowship of the Ring. Sean Bean, when he... spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
this whole segment gets a big spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen these movies,
There it
turn
is.
it off now.
I think the fact that he was so like the ring was gonna possess him, and he was able to turn it around and protect his friends and do the fact that all those arrows kind of come into, you can remember it. It's iconic, the slow motion, the way that it's done, and Sean Bean dies again. But I think as far
He
as
dies again.
and he starts to kind of come back and redeem himself. So, Clarke.
Well, actually, I kind of broke the rule a little and went to TV because what immediately sprung to my mind was Buffy, all Buffy's heroic deaths. She saved the world a lot. But if I had to, the other death, I guess this isn't really heroic, but Maybe it is. I don't know. But I thought about Quint's death in Jaws. It's not really heroic, I suppose, but it's like
Kind of.
It's kind of is, right? It's the conclusion to his story, his Ahab story.
It's vicious,
It
but
is,
heroic.
and it's brutal and means something. So I don't know.
I got a couple for you.
got-
I got Jor-El sacrifices himself to
good.
save his only son. So that's a very heroic death. I've got Spock sacrifices himself in Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan.
Okay.
It's for the one to the ever to the. I can't remember the exact quote. You sweaties will, just write it down. I can't remember what the quote is. To live for the one, to sacrifice. There, it's a very emotional scene between him and Kirk. I was crying. I can't remember the dialogue. And finally, Charlton Heston in Beneath the Planet of the Apes. He blows up the effing planet to rid us of this weird mutation world where the apes have taken over. He's like, remember his little bloody hands, like, F y'all. Oh! Best ending ever.
It's a good one. So what the chat room's saying. Gandalf in the first one. Right, he comes back though. Let's see. You have also Randy Quaid in Independence Day.
Oh yes.
Which Bruce Willis, Armageddon. That's a pretty good one.
Sure.
Denzel Washington in Man on Fire. Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2. There's some pretty good.
those are all right.
Darth Vader. Darth Vader, Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah.
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 Throws the little old bag down the tunnel. Yeah.
All right, so that's everything in the world of Mailbag. Now we're going to get to the world of Twitter. You guys submit them at Ashley Mover at Collider Video. She's going to be going through those questions and picking them out. Ashley, what are they saying out there?
Sahil writes, what are your favorite long scenes from any movie without cuts? Scenes that you think would have had taken a lot of retakes.
The one that I'm going to start with, because it's so fresh in my mind, is Creed. If you
Right,
go,
that long take
so
in
there's actually, everyone always calls it the first fight. It's actually the second fight in the movie. The first fight is I think in Mexico, but the second fight, it's all one take from the second they enter the ring all the way until the end of the fight. It's one shot, and that must have been as far as fight choreography and the reactions. That must have been so stressful to do, and I thought it came out pretty flawless. So that's the one I take.
I'd say there's so many. Goodfellas, Martin Scorsese, when they walk through the kitchen to get into that club. You got almost everything in The Shining. Like every other shot is like a 20-minute like super kick-ass Steadicam 1-point perspective shot. Orson Welles, obviously, Touch of Evil, the opening sequence where we're like, following that bomb with the car. Tracking shots. What do you think, Clarke?
I'm drawing such a big blank right now.
I go to TV.
True Detective.
True Detective.
That's the one
Yeah,
that I
that's-
automatically thought of. It's a beautiful shot. But yeah, I
Any
can't.
Coppola ones or any?
I mean, goodness,
Kubrick?
I come back to me.
All right.
I'll think of something.
Think of something.
I'll
All right.
tweet it later.
All right, some more tweets.
All right,
What you got?
Kylo Ben writes, would a Hook remake do well? Well,
Would a Hook remake do?
Peter Pan is not hot right now.
Didn't
No,
they
they
just
are
do it
doing-
already?
Yeah,
they did
they just-
Pan.
They've done
Yeah.
it so many
Sucked.
versions, but they are doing Peter Pan again. They're
What?
doing it for Disney this
Yeah,
time because
Disney's
Disney
doing
hasn't.
it.
done
Well,
it.
then but that's not a Hook remake.
No, it's not a Hook.
That's like
remake.
Peter Pan is his own thing. It's
Right.
like,
So I don't think that was something specific that Spielberg wanted to do. I don't think that'll ever happen. And I think that there was also the fact that Spielberg could work with Robin Williams in the way that he did. I don't think that'll ever happen.
No.
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
okay. Denzig 1979 writes, question, if you could finance and make your dream film, what would the film be and why?
Oh man.
Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
If I get a finance all, I want to do that Star Wars, the Star Wars meets Lord of the Rings version of it. Again, I say this every single time this movie's mentioned. I like McGee as a person. Worst person ever to do this movie. He is not the right fit for this film. It's just his style does not work for what they need to do.
Is he doing
for this movie? Yeah, he's from what they say, he's doing it. So I would really like to. I would love if I was able to have that kind of money and bring in the kind of people and talent that I wanted to do for back when I was at Silver. That's absolutely the franchise I would like to do.
I've got my own science fiction epic that I would like. Give me $20 million. I don't even need a lot. Just $20 million. I will make a science fiction epic film. But if there's different franchises that I would like to make a segment of.
Right.
I would love to do The Shadow. I would love to do something
Cool.
like out of the 30s. Like The Shadow, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I have. There's a project that I'm developing actually. That's a remake of a foreign film that
cool.
I would love to actually make. I'm not going to say any more about it, but I'm working on that. That'd be my dream project because it's mine. But in terms of franchise, this is going to sound so goofy, but I would love to make another Drag Me to Hell movie.
Oh, yeah?
I would love to return to that world. I would love to find out not only what happens after that story, what happens to Christine, what happens to Justin Long's character, but what else could go on as a result of this coin and this Lamia and all.
So it would be undrag me to hell.
Yeah,
like
if you
just not
keep
rescuing
dragging me to
her.
hell.
She's in hell. So another one.
And then maybe she gets to come back. Maybe everybody at the end gets to come back. They're redeemed, but they come back crazy and they come back as Lamia monsters.
All right, what's next?
Colby Bean writes, any updates on the Tupac biopic? Last I heard, they had till December of 2015 to start or they'd lose the rights.
Well, gosh, his mom just died too, and I think she was working on something. I don't know if it ever got produced, though.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. It's something that I think should definitely be told. I mean, what a story for that guy. Plus, he's probably still alive. The Machiavelli thing. I think the hologram thing was the thing that was so revolutionary all on its own, what they did with him for that. I'm curious if they're going to do it. I'm sure they're going to do it. Schnepp, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, eventually. But.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Christian Joel Ramos writes, will we ever see a Legend of Zelda movie?
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
you're definitely going to see. I would be surprised if it's not going to be 3D animated. I don't think they'll do a live action Legend of Zelda. They'll probably do something more in line with the video games.
Right.
Interesting.
What do you think, Clarke?
Yeah, well, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that how Warcraft does and Assassin's Creed, but more Warcraft because it's in that fantasy gaming world. I think that's going to dictate, maybe for better or for worse, if studios really invest and decide to go forward on these things.
Sure.
So that's my guess.
Okay. What's next?
Kyle Anderson writes, what is your favorite gory horror movie moment?
Clarke?
Oh boy, there are so many. Schnepp, do you know yours?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got so many too, but like right off the top of my head, the John Carpenter's The Thing, when all of them are like strapped to the couch.
Spoiler.
And
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
I know
They're all
some,
strapped
yeah.
to the couch and they're doing the blood test. I knew it was you. And then he does the thing. We'll save you for last. And the blood comes alive. And the guy starts shaking in the table and his face explodes and he throws it. That is my favorite sequence. That is just so gory and flavorful. Then I'd also go Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, the one with Dennis Hopper. That has some amazingly gory sequences.
Man,
I'm going to defer to you because this is not my cup of tea.
The thing is unparalleled, I think, in terms of special effects. However, for a more recent offering, Cabin Fever, the leg shaving scene.
It's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Who?
Serena
The girl.
Vincent.
Oh yeah, I know Serena. Yeah. So
pretty
that
pretty
scene
gross.
is just because the thing is, it's something so simple, and yet everybody, whether you're a man or a woman, you can identify with shaving your legs, shaving your face, and just knowing that your skin is so vulnerable that it's just
hearing it, I'm
and
going,
it goes
yeah.
shh. The
Yeah.
sound is
Yeah.
great. It's just oh god, I love
I
it.
would
I love you, Cabin Fever.
I would also defer to Martyrs, the ending.
God.
There's a very special sequence at the end. If you make it to the end, then you deserve this scene.
I
Pretty
also,
gory.
not to belabor the point, but I love all the times in Drag Me to Hell where poor Alison Lohman just gets stuff like dumped in her mouth.
Yeah.
Like if you watch
At
the
that
whole
funeral scene, that's really just gross. Like the old dead grandma,
and all the formaldehyde comes out into her mouth.
All right,
or
what's
there's
next? What's
bugs or-
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do 3 more.
Yeah.
All right.
Literally, she swallowed half of that.
It's so
That's
great.
what she said, yeah. Snoop Dogg fans, right? Who is the most underrated actor/actress?
Underrated
Underrated.
actor. Man, think about that. That's a list. That's a list. We got to think about it. Yeah,
It's a good question.
You know
It's a
what?
stumper.
Somebody submit that as a mailbag question for this weekend, and Dennis and I will look for it and answer that on mailbag because that's one that you got to put a lot of kind of thought into. It would be nice to put a little list to that. So
Yeah.
let's do 3 more.
Okay. Nicholas Sergi writes, best character translated to the screen from a book.
I'd say Harry Potter. Harry Potter was done, I thought, pretty well from the.
I'd say James Bond.
Yeah.
I'd say anyone in The Princess Bride. I think that's maybe the most perfect film adaptation of a book, maybe ever.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. I never read the book, so yeah.
The book, you guys, seriously, read The Princess Bride. It's such a great book. Riley's giving me the thumbs up. He agrees.
All right. What's next?
Chris Marabella writes, do you think we will ever see Mickey Mouse return to the big screen?
Ah, that is a good
It is a good question. I don't see why not. it would be great to have him in like one of those in the new animation, new animated ways.
Do Mickey Mouse.
I can't really do it.
Yeah, that's the best
that
I can
sounds
do.
great. It's the best I can
would
do.
love to see Mickey Mouse. I know that Disney's been doing a lot of these new kind of animated / cell shaded 3D shorts with Mickey Mouse. He's a great character. He deserves his own movie. And as all of his pals should be in it, Donald should be in it, Goofy should be in it. Yeah, come on, Disney, what's up, man? Bring us another mouse.
That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
You know, they did a short film with him, like they put right in front of Frozen, and it was cool. Like I remember when at D23 when they debuted it, they pretended it was like old footage that they found from Disney, and it was in that black and white style. But then it popped out into like the 3D, and it's actually on the Frozen Blu-ray. So if you haven't seen that, it's pretty cool. Just check it out. Okay, what's next?
Mujtaba Ahmed writes, which movie franchise has the most chance of getting Leonardo DiCaprio?
I'd say the Batman with Leonardo as the Riddler. What's up, yo? I'm stumping for that. That's what I want. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not even saying it because of what today is and because of what I do, but I think Star Wars has a good shot. Because I think that he's kind of said that he doesn't want to do superhero movies too, but when he's been asked about Star Wars, even though he was rumored and supposed to play Anakin at one point, I actually think that he would entertain the idea of being in a Star Wars movie. I don't know why that is, and I don't know, but I just feel that that's a possibility.
I would be curious to see him in a DC villain role, to be honest. I'm not, and you guys might know this, but I'm not the biggest DiCaprio fan. I don't love him like a lot of people do, but I think that would be cool. And as an older gentleman, I would really like to see him in Star Wars. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Like maybe give it another 10 years and see him in like an advisory role or something. Like I think that could be awesome.
Be pretty cool. All right, what's next?
Dean Edwin Locklear writes, what's your favorite movie that no one likes?
Oh my God, the list
another
goes
list.
on
Yeah.
and on. And
I'll just throw a
on.
couple in there. Battle Beyond the Stars. The guilty pleasure, stupid films. Krull. You got a whole bunch of dumb science fiction films that are
Flash
like
Gordon.
flat. Hey, no way.
Oh,
A lot of people-
Lots of people
No,
like that movie.
Kristian
Like, these
Harloff
people
doesn't
sitting at the
understand
table.
Flash Gordon, so that's why he's chucking it in there.
Flash Gordon is one of my favorite
Oh,
movies
really?
of all.
All right, well, yeah, all
I
right.
love
I
Flash
thought you were going to
Gordon.
rip on it,
wait,
dude.
but
I
if you
wanna get in
fucking
there
love
too.
Flash
I
Gordon.
love Flash
Yeah,
Gordon.
all right.
No, what I'm saying.
That's not underrated. We all love Flash
No,
Gordon.
that's the
Right.
thing is that if you watch that movie now, like I tried to get Ellis to watch it like 3 years ago, and he looked like I was trying to like put garbage on his face, and like it was. But it's great, but it is campy as
It's
all
goofy.
hell.
You just
I
have
love
to
it.
get
It's
into
so
it. It's
fun,
so much
though.
I
fun.
love Flash Gordon. You kidding me? All right, actually, let's do one more now.
Buffy,
Okay.
by the way, is mine.
Scotty writes,
I-
favorite
Buffy? Oh,
Charlize
sorry.
Theron movie. Favorite-
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron. I mean, you got to go. I mean, does it Mad Max? You know what I really liked her in? She had favorite movie.
Go ahead.
I really liked her, and this is again a guilty movie pleasure for me, but I loved her in The Devil's Advocate. I
right.
thought
She
she
had a
was
small
really
part
good
in
in
that,
that. It was a fairly big role.
Right.
It was one of her first big ones
Right.
where she played
His wife.
his wife, and she was like the only one that kind of realized something was going on with. Ha!
He gets a bad end.
Yeah, what do you got, Clarke?
That thing you do.
Ah.
I forgot she's in
I
that.
love that thing.
I'm
you
going to say
do.
Monster. Just kidding. Ian Flux. Just kidding. Fury Road. That's my favorite role.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's our show. Thank you guys for submitting questions. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Before we go to the panel, I would just like to say, JT and Finstock, your luck has run out. The title match happens on the Schmodown. Myself and Mark Ellis. We have to protect the Collider house. The reigning singles champion is from Collider. The reigning team champions will be from Collider. This is our house. It was very nice that you guys decided to show up. Take the stinky beard mask, take the stinky backwards hat, and get lost because it is going down. It's over. It's done with. That match happens this Friday. Make sure you check it out because it's going to be a smack down. I'd like to thank the panel here. First, John Schnepp. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter, just at John Schnepp. Check out my film, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. We've got it screening in Rio de Janeiro and over in Glasgow, Scotland. Can check that out. It's on May 9th at 7:30 p.m. Me and the producer, Holly Payne, will be doing a Skyped-in Q&A. So if you want to get tickets right now, go to RestlessNativesFilmFestival.com and get those tickets.
Clarke Wolfe. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope at Clarke Wolfe. Clarke with an E, Wolf with an E, and on YouTube.com/official Clarke Wolfe.
Ashley, that's what she said. Mova, where can they find you?
Twitter, Instagram, Ashley Mova. Happy Wednesday, guys.
Guys, a couple things to check out. Make sure that you find our spoiler review, which is going up, for Civil War, which is going up on Friday, as well as our Russo brothers interview that will be up as well. And if you haven't already checked out the Winter Soldier commentary that both Schnepp, Dennis, and Ellis did, that is up. And once again, John Schnepp, myself, Dennis, and John Campia will be on Movie Talk tomorrow. Make sure you guys check it out. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.